Today's video is going to be another dramatic makeup look. I just kind of wanted to do this black glittery smoky eye as kind of a transition into fall and October and Halloween, because this is a really easy look to do if you don't know what look would go with your costume. Of course, you don't have to do the pop of color in the inner corner or the pop of pink on the lips, but if you wanted to just do a black glittery smoky eye to go with your Halloween costume, that is something that will be really easy to do, especially because it'll match with a lot of things. So last year I went as a cave woman and Jack went as a caveman to a Halloween party that we went to, and I just did a black smoky eye. I did not add the glitter. The glitter was a touch that I decided to do this year just because, I don't know, just add a little sparkle, a little, you know, pizzazz, a little something extra, because you guys know I'm extra. I didn't do the glitter on it, but I did do the black smoky eye, and everyone loved it, and I loved how it turned out. It, of course, is something that you would have to practice kind of before if you've never done it, just so that way the day of you're not kind of like running all over the place with your head chopped off and watching this video and like, what the hell is she talking about? So I would recommend you watching this. Is why I'm putting it up with an adequate amount of time so you can practice over and over. It is not going to be a talk through, unfortunately, but I will try to keep the clips pretty long so you can follow along and watch what I'm doing. Pretty much you just really want to make sure you're blending because it can go completely left. I spent probably 2 minutes blending the black into the brown because that's the transition where it could go wrong, where it could be just a super harsh line of black and then like brown, and then the transition shade. I still feel like this isn't as blended as I would like, but it's blended enough today. I've got so many videos to film and one day off, so I'm like, it's gonna work. So yeah, just continue to blend and do all of that. If you do want to do the pop of color, I think it would be perfect. That is what I love my Urban Decay Moondust palette for. It has such an array of different colors in it that like you could use this for like any type of pop of color. I use this color Element, so it's like kind of like a funky, like pinkish, orangish, like funky iridescent kind of color. This color here, this light pink, is really pretty. Of course, these pops of blues and purples in the corner. So if you have this palette, that is what you can use it for. You could just do like a pop of color and kind of go on about that day. And I love this palette. I just love this palette. Just love it. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I love you all. Leave me more suggestions. I am taking Halloween makeup tutorial suggestions because I am going to try to do them this year. So if you have any that you would like for me to do, then leave it down below. I love you all, and I'll see you guys very soon. Bye.
Okay, so to start this look off, I'm priming my lids with my MAC Studio Finish Concealer, like always. And a couple of you guys asked if I set it with a powder afterwards. I personally don't, but a lot of people do, so do what you choose. After that, I'm going in with my MUFE Pro Sculpting Duo in number 2, and I'm using that to highlight my brow bone with an e.l.f. smudge brush. I normally never do this, but for this look, because I knew it would be kind of all matte besides the sparkle on the lid, I decided to switch it up. So I go into this Shadow Couture palette by Anastasia Beverly Hills, and I take the shade Morocco, and I'm just working that back and forth with the Sigma E35 blending brush and windshield wiper motions and small buffing motions to buff that highlight shade in with the Morocco. Next, I go in with Fudge, and I take another Sigma E25 brush, and I just work this directly into the socket of the crease, and I kind of bring it up a little bit higher underneath of Morocco because the black will cover up the shade in the crease anyways. So I just put this in there just as a transition shade. You can do this first, you can do this after you apply the black. It doesn't really matter. I just do it first and after. After that, I go in with a NYX Jumbo Eye Pencil in the shade Black Bean. You can use a gel eyeliner if you'd like to. I just had this, so I decided to go with this, plus it's a lot more creamy and easier to blend. So I put it all over my lid, and then I just use my ring finger because it applies the least amount of pressure, and just blend that into the crease and on my lid. And then I take the shade Noir out of that same palette on a Coastal Scents like big fluffy brush, and I just use this to pat it and set that concealer also just to make it a little bit more intense, or not concealer, set that eye pencil and also to make it more intense. And then after I'm done packing it all over the lid, I take a Sigma I want to say this is like an E38 blending brush or something. It's like a diffuse crease brush, and I take the shade shade Noir and just start blending that into the crease. Now this is the point where it took me a very long time to blend because I was building in the inner corner and outer corner, and also making sure the transition between the lid shade into the crease was pretty smooth. So this is the point where I meant like you have to take your time and just continue to blend. So I continue to pack that black shade on and just blend it in and just kind of go back and forth and kind of do windshield wiper motions, and then I go back in with the same E25, and this is what I meant when you can go back in with Fudge and apply that transition shade afterwards. That's what I'm doing right now. So I'm just blending out the top part of that black shade and also adding the brown just to make it look a lot more diffused and smoky. So after that, after I'm done blending, I apply my NYX glitter primer, and if you have an eyelash glue you can use that as well. I just like to use this because it's not as harsh and it doesn't ruin my brushes. And then I go in with my BH Cosmetics, the glitter collection. I've had this for years, you guys, since they came out with this glitter collection. And I just packed this all over my lid with this like synthetic brush that I've had for like 10 years or something like that. So I just apply that all over my lid, and then I apply my Huda Beauty Samantha lashes off camera, and then I go in and start priming. So I'm using my Makeup Forever Step 1 Skin Equalizer in the shade Smoothing, and this is a great smoothing primer if you have really large pores. I'm still working through this like small mini size because I don't use it that often because I have a lot of primers, but nonetheless I just smooth this all over my face to fill in any pores. And then for foundation, I go with the Makeup Forever Stick Foundation in 178 and the liquid foundation in 177, and I mix the two just because 178, as you can see, is a lot more warm and 177 is way too light / cool. So when I mix the two, I kind of get like a really good shade. It's not like the perfect shade, but it's a good enough shade to where, you know, it matches with my skin tone pretty well. And then I go with my Naked Skin Concealer by Urban Decay in the shade Dark / Golden, which, as you guys know, one of my favorite top concealers. I decided to pull it back out because I wanted something full coverage but also lightweight at the same time, and I haven't used this in a very long time. So I just go ahead and put that under my eyes, the bridge of my nose, the center of my forehead, chin, and Cupid's bow, and then I go ahead and blend that out with the Beauty Blender as well. And this is my favorite way to blend out any type of concealer, just because it blends it very, very nicely, and I don't have to worry about streaks from a brush or dirtying up any type of brushes or anything like that. And then I go ahead and use my Sacha Buttercup setting powder, which I obviously need more of. I need to quit playing and just go ahead and order more because I've had this for like a year now, but I just use that and press it into the skin. And then for my nose, I let it kind of bake a little bit because my nose gets oily really fast. It's kind of working, but not really at the same time. I go in with my Iman Cream to Powder Foundation in the shade Earth 6, and I use that to contour. I remember I used to use this all the time, and a lot of you guys loved it when I used this because it was a nice shade. It's not too dark, but it's not not too warm or too cool. It's like a perfect kind of like smack dab in the middle shade. So I use that with a I forget what brush this came from or where this brush set came from, but I use that brush, and then I use this Apple Cheeks blush by Jordana, and I just apply this onto my cheeks with a dual fiber brush by Sigma as well. And then my favorite part of my entire look is highlighting, and I just use my Makeup Forever Pro Sculpting Duo number 2 as well. So it kind of ties in with the brow bone, the cheekbone, and also the forehead, nose, and Cupid's bow. Kind of ties in with all of that. And I'm using a fan brush by BH Cosmetics, and it came out of their purple brush set. I don't know if they still have the purple brush set because I've had this brush for like, oh my gosh, probably like 5 or 6 years or something like that. So after that, I'm obviously feeling myself because my highlight was popping, y'all, was popping. Then after that, I just take my Beauty Blender and I push the powder into the skin just to set it like I did with underneath of my eyes and everywhere else. And then I go ahead and contour my nose with the same powder. And I use a Sigma E39 Buff and Blend eyeshadow brush. For those of you guys that are curious from like my Instagram pictures and stuff like that, that is how I snatch the nose. And then I go in with a small fan brush from Crown Brushes, and I use that with the Makeup Forever Pro Sculpting Duo, and I just use that to highlight the tip and the bridge of my nose. And then I go in with the NYX Slide On Glide On pencil in the shade like Jet Black or something like that. This is one of my favorite eyeliner pencils, so they have like colors too. You guys should go and get them. They're amazing. And I take the shade Noir again on the lower lash line, this time with a smudge brush by Sigma. And I really, really smudge this out because I want it to be very dark and very dramatic underneath of there, just so it's like the complete smoky eye effect. And then I take the shade Fudge and I use it on a pencil brush by Sigma, and I just work that back and forth to blend out the black, because I don't want it to be like super harsh. I want it to be blended, and I'm kind of following the same steps that I did at my upper lid part. After that, I take a little bit of NYX glitter primer because I'm going to go in with the Arbor Decay Moondust palette, and the best way to apply those shadows is by using a glitter primer underneath. So I just pack that on, and then I go in with Element, which is the kind of like orange pink, hot pink shade, and I just use that with the same brush, placing it right on top of that glitter primer, and that's how I get it really intense and really like opaque and kind of like over the top. So that's a little tip for ya. After that, I'm moving on to the lips, and I'm using my Tarte Lippie paint in the shade TBT or Throwback Thursday. I figured that I would just use it because the hot pink kind of was like just a little pop of pink, so I applied it on my lips as well. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this look. I loved how it turned out. If you have any suggestions for Halloween, please make sure you leave them down below, so that way I can start making a list and start getting all of my ideas together. I love you all, and I will see you guys in my very, very next video. Mwah. Bye!